To celebrate the release of Takeda, arguably MK's most prominent case of mixed ancestry, I felt like going over all the characters of mixed heritage in the series. For clarity, the Cambridge Dictionary defines mixed heritage as the fact of having two or more different racial, ethnic, religious, or cultural backgrounds. So we'll be counting both genetic ancestry and cultural upbringing here. So let's go back to the beginning and see if we can untangle this yarn ball of a canon. Welcome to Cannonball. First, the man himself. Takahashi Takeda is the son of Kenshi, a Japanese man, and a Thai woman named Su-chin. He primarily reflects his Japanese heritage, which makes sense given his mother has very little presence in the story, having died when he was a child, and that he was left with a Japanese ninja to be taught and raised. M1K, unless the new bio is a cover story, is making him Kenshi's cousin, which could well be removing his Thai heritage for purely Japanese. Why would Liu Kang do this? Kenshi himself, according to Deadly Alliance's Conquest mode, is descended from a line of long-forgotten warrior kings who resided in a region somewhere between Europe and China. Their people were comprised of a mixture of both cultures. It's a shame this hasn't come up since, with the second iteration's ancestry going ignored beyond the soul Shang Tsung stole, and the current version just banging on and on about the Taira. The Takahashi clan is supposed to have a long history of race mixing, and original Takeda intended to keep this proud legacy going by getting together with Jackie, a black woman. Now though, that seems unlikely unless Jackie is Jax's sister. Why would Liu Kang do this? Fellow Kombat kid Kung Jin is an example of the cultural heritage idea. Chinese in ancestry, his family was kicked out by the Shaolin after Kung Lao's death, leading them to America where Jin grew up. This helps to inform his brash attitude when compared to most other heroic Asians in the series, who tend to be much more composed. Johnny Cage's MK9 bio reveals he descends from a Mediterranean warrior cult, which naturally also applies to Cassie and Janet. Of course, how important this kind of ancestry is ultimately comes down to the individual, as Nightwolf is the only American in the series without any foreign ancestry by nature of the country's history. But if you do count it, then all the Kombat kids can be considered mixed to varying degrees. The first case of definitive mixed heritage in MK was Bi-Han and Kuai Liang, all the way back in 1997. Potentially implemented to explain why the Chinese Kuai Liang was played by a white man in MK3, and Bi-Han by that same white man in Mythologies, the latter establishes the two brothers as being sons of a Chinese Lin Kuei member and an American woman. Her ethnicity is unstated, but if John Turk's casting is the inspiration for this revelation, we can assume she's white. This was retconned in MK9, where the Sub-Zero character vignette depicts the boys being abducted from clearly Chinese parents, which in the current canon potentially suggests Kronika removed their whiteness for more DEI money to fund her timeline gacha rolls. In the current timeline, there's nothing to suggest heritage beyond Chinese. But Smoke in this timeline has likely gained some Chinese culture since his adoption by the two's father, presumably still being Czech by birth. Finally, Liu Kang gave instead of taking away, and of course it was adding Chinese. Argus has 3 demigod sons with Edenian women, Taven, Dagon, and Rain. Raiden, Fujin, and Argus are not the same kind of demigod, they're full gods. Thanks for that, NetherRealm. Kid Thunder, however, now that he's actually canon, presumably is that kind of demigod, being referred to as Raiden's nephew, which would make him the son of one of Raiden's siblings, and most likely immortal, given the general lack of female gods. Now for some more cultural heritage so common among the Ks. Kano was an American raised in Japan back in the 90s, hence the Japanese name. Yes, Kano was MK's first Japanese character, predating Scorpion's backstory by 5 years. It was only after the character-defining portrayal by British actor Trevor Goddard in the 1995 movie that all subsequent iterations would be made Australian, including the game starting with 2000 Special Forces. Classic Kitana is Edenian but raised in Outworld. How much Edenian culture she has in her depends on the backstory, as some depict or suggest her to be an adult when Edenia was conquered, while others have her as a baby. Her MK11 ending even explores this theme of disconnection from her birth heritage, one of the more interesting endings in that game honestly. Current Kitana is purely an Outworlder, with Edenia possibly being a region or country within that. Classic Melina is genetically Edenian, being Kitana's clone, but with Tarkatan DNA included, with the latter honestly informing much more of her personality than the Edenian part. Current Melina, like Kitana, is not mixed. In the current timeline, there seems to be far less mixing. Bi-Han and Kuai Liang likely continue from MK9's version as full Chinese, since I don't see the former Grandmaster being a sleeper agent in America. Johnny no longer has the green glow, suggesting the warrior cult is not part of his and Cassie's ancestry anymore. Kenshi's Eurasia heritage hasn't come up since Deadly Alliance. Kitana and Melina are full Outworlders, with Tarkatan now being a disease and caste instead of a full-on race. Janet still has her green glow, fortunately. There's basically no hope for Kung Jin if Lao doesn't die. Kano will definitely continue as an Aussie. Smoke has likely gained Chinese culture. If Kuai Liang and Harumi have Satoshi together, he'll now be Japanese, Chinese, and despised by the Hanzo stands. And Takeda is very likely changed. This is paltry compared to what we've had in the past. It's a sad day when 2021 does more to carry on this part of the series' legacy with Scorpion's mixed descendant Cole. To all my mixed homies, you are valid. Don't let NetherRealm tell you different. I mean, these are the same guys who refuse to acknowledge that Melina and Tanya like men anymore, so if bi-erasure is on the agenda, I wouldn't put this past them, intentional or otherwise. If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon like these fine people here? If not, then make sure to share it with your enemies so they can suffer along with you. Today's recommended video is Mortal Kombat X, Takeda, Lasher theme by Tronica. It's the music you've been hearing throughout this video, and it's more memorable than MKX's entire soundtrack. Hire this person, NetherRealm.